Dan, today's lineup, Canzone in the field, Robles starting on the bench. Just what kind of went into the mindset to make that decision for today's game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen some really good at bats from Leo throughout his time with our club. Certainly, the game against Detroit, picking up that huge pinch hit knock, and what he's done at second base is stellar as well. So, getting a chance to get him in there, and I think it should work out well. Dom has played right field all season for us, and handles that well, and allows Polo a chance to DH tonight. So, just a good time to get Leo in the lineup.
Go to Tim on the left.
Dan, do you have a Game 5 starter?
Yeah, Bryce Miller will take the hill for us tomorrow night. Obviously pitched well against Toronto in the first game, and looking forward to giving him the ball tomorrow.
Being that Bryce is starting tomorrow, what is the plan for Brian at this point?
Yeah, Brian's going to be available out of the pen, and I think that's the plan here going forward, and he's in good spot, and he's feeling good, and I think at this point that's where we're going to see him coming out of the pen.
Go to David, or right in front.
Dan, you mentioned Leo. I believe you mentioned a few days ago that the decision to pinch hit Leo in Game 5, part of that came from Manny Acta. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Can you talk about what Manny brings to the table as bench coach for this team and for you as manager?
Yeah, can't do it without Manny. He really, our entire staff is just outstanding. And Manny's, been in the game so long and has such good experience, such good feel. And so being able to rely on Manny as much as I do is a luxury. And, he just sees the game so well, understands the game so well. And I think that the key is, the game has changed over time, but Manny's been a part of that, and he has seen it change over time. And, just what he does and how he sees it is such tremendous experience, and to be able to rely on that, like I said, is a luxury. He's a great human, so it's just I think it's been a great relationship, and really appreciate all that Manny brings to our entire staff.
Go right here, Josh.
Dan, is Victor Robles full strength after going into the boards kind of hard yesterday and out today?
Pardon me?
I said, is Victor Robles all right after that catch in right field?
Yeah, he's fine. A great catch, great effort, which is, what we always see from Victor. And as we talked about last night, sort of reminiscent of that play in San Francisco, but, going in there hard. But that's the effort you always get from Vic.
Stay right here with Dan.
Dan, what are the challenges that Brian might now face transitioning into a role that he hasn't had, at least at the big league level? We know he did back in college.
Yeah, I think obviously it's a different kind of a role. He had a chance to do it in the All-Star game, so maybe a little bit of experience coming out of a pen. But again, this is the time of year where you ask people to do things that they're not as comfortable doing, or they haven't done as much. But he's got a wealth of people that will help him. The Rock, Logan Gilbert did it recently. They can help. So I think he'll be in good shape. And again, I think he's excited to get back out there.
We'll go back to Tim on the left.
One more on Brian. How much of the fact that he wasn't built up and he was probably going to be on a limited pitch count factored into using him out of the pen versus having him start?
Yeah, obviously something we considered and talked about, getting him in a game, will also allow us to, just kind of see how he is and where he's at, and that's important too. So, we kind of have to wait and see how these games develop and what happens. But again, we're excited to find a spot for him and get him out there.
Anything else for Dan? We'll go back to Taryn in the front.
Dan, the offense has really been successful against Toronto's bullpen so far this series. Even last night, the score was what it was, but it had those 2 home runs late in the game. Just what have you seen from Toronto's relievers in the series that you feel like has allowed the lineup to have success against them?
I think it's more what our offense is able to do. And, we've talked about what our guys do, what they do well. They put up good at-bats, throughout. And last night was no exception. They play hard for 9 innings, even in a one-sided game, and some really good at-bats late. So, I think, again, what we do as a club offensively, is really, tells the story and good at bats, grind them out at bats, and getting base runners on base, creating a little pressure on the defense, and being able to drive the ball in the gaps. Sometimes it goes out of the ballpark, and we were able to do that last night.
We'll stay in the front with Jessamine.
Last night, in talking to a young player, Harry Ford, I asked him who was the leader after a game like that. Who did he depend on? He said Josh Naylor immediately was the one that rallied the troops, if you will. Is there someone that you depend on, or do you let them handle it themselves?
I mean, like I've said, there is a group in there, and it's a group of leaders, and different guys do different things at different times. Nails, since coming over, has been a leader for sure. But there's also other guys in there that have led, and they do such a great job. But it's a great culture in there. I believe Polo said that they trust each other, they rely on each other, and that's the way that this group is. And I think it's a group that has bounced back and has been resilient throughout the course of the year, and I think that's a big reason why. And again, that's why I just keep saying it's a very special group, and what they have in that clubhouse is very special.
Go on the back left, David.
Hey, Dan, one more question on Wu. What's the challenge in getting him ready if you need to use him, as opposed to a reliever who you can get hot in a hurry?
Yeah, I mean, you have to kind of give him a little bit more time. We talked about this a little bit with some of our starters before Game 5 of the ALDS, knowing that we might have a chance to use Logan Gilbert and Castillo, which we did. But again, I think they're able to use each other as resources, and we'll try to give them as much time as possible to get prepared to go out there. And that's really the thing that's the only thing we need to be concerned about is just giving him enough time. And but I think again his availability, his wanting to get back out there will really help there.
Go on the far left, Kate.
With Leo Rivas, he said that his job in the box is to be a pest, put a lot of pitches on a starter, work along at bat. Is the hope that not only he can do that from that bottom part of the lineup, but also that his approach might be a little contagious for the rest of the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, again, Leo's at-bats have been, so solid this year, and has drawn a lot of walks, has found his way on base. I think that's a big part of it. His ability to grind out pitchers down at the bottom of the order is helpful. That's, I think, he identifies exactly with what he needs to do down there at the bottom of the order, and, looking forward to getting that in there tonight with him.
Go on the far right, Rick.
Danny, what kind of resource is Mitch Garver tonight facing Max Scherzer as they were together a few years ago?
Yeah, Garv has been really, he's just been tremendous all season long in terms of that. A lot of experience, obviously, having been to the World Series before, and just helping all along. But as I've said, he and Cal work so well together, and they talk about hitters a lot. And tonight, he gets to talk about a pitcher and what he saw from him. So all that, they definitely will take all that in, and our hitters will have, a good idea of what to expect. And but Garv has been, that's what you hope for from your veterans, and he's been great about it, and continues to do that throughout this playoff time too.
Julio, we just talked to Dan a little bit about Leo being in the lineup and how much energy his approach just brings to that bottom of the order, being able to turn it around for you guys. Just from your experience, how has it helped having him in the bottom of the order, just that constant on base threat for you guys at the top of the lineup?
For us, I think Leo, what he brings to the lineup is huge. Like you said, like he always having great at bats. He plays great defense too. So he's somebody that when you put him in the lineup, he's gonna have those really good at bats, and he can definitely get everybody in trouble just creating things on the base pad.
We'll go over here to Dan.
Julio, what have you seen from this clubhouse and its ability to just flush away tough losses and move on to the next day? And, how have you seen that evolve as the season's gone along?
I just feel like it has become like really a part of our identity. We take it one day at a time. I feel like we all do a pretty good job just staying present in the moment and kind of just take games as they go. And sometimes you're gonna experience tough losses, and you cannot avoid that. But I feel like something that you can really control is how you respond and how you show up the next day, ready to compete again.
We'll go back to Taryn in the middle.
on that note of kind of the mentality of like flushing away tough losses, was there a moment in this season that you guys kind of adopted that or fully committed that, or was that just kind of a combination of experiences from the past couple of years that this core group of players went through?
I just feel like, as this season kind of kept going forward, I feel like, that kind of kept growing and growing because it was, even though like we knew we had a really good team, like we experienced like some tough batches, and I just feel like those were the times where like, we were really able to solidify that.
Going to Rick on the right.
Julio, I know you're going to hit a home run in the bottom of the first inning again, but what do you learn from the dugout to the on-deck circle? What do you watch when Randy's up there and Cal's up there to do what you've done the last few days?
Honestly, like, I like seeing, the way that they're pitching, but at the same time, I have my own approach. I always try to, like, get something. When it's my turn to hit, like, just to see something over the middle of the play and try to put a good swing to it.
We'll go to Tyler on the right.
Julio, you had such a great second half. What did the decision to take a few days at the All-Star break rather than go to the game kind of reset? How did that help you in the second half when you look back at where you were in July?
I would say just taking the time for myself to actually dive deep in myself and like just to address the things I thought could have done better, like to just kind of organize my head a little bit better and put myself in a better spot to compete and like kind of bring the best self out of me.
Go to Jessamine in front.
We just heard from Dan Wilson about the leadership in the clubhouse. Harry Ford said that Josh Naylor had some words last night. Being a part of that group, it sounded like Dan thought that you guys all come together. It could be a different person every day. What does that mean to you? And do you find a time when you are that person to be the leader?
I'll say yeah. I feel like I found myself in like those situations too. But I just feel like it's not just me. I just feel like it can come from anybody, honestly. I feel like everybody knows their goal, like why we're here, like why we're doing what we're doing, like why we're playing hard every single day, like why we need to flush out games. I feel like everybody knows that. So I feel like it's like a collective effort. I feel like everybody can pull the lead a little bit.
Go in the middle back, David.
A fun question here. Has Josh Naylor given you any stolen base tips?
By watching him, yeah, there's a lot of tips by watching him. Like he's always like looking for opportunity out there on the field, and that's something that he definitely brings to the game. And I just feel like by watching him, I definitely like copy a little bit of him.
Go to Jordan in the back left.
Julio, what's been your experience working not just with Edgar Martinez, but Kevin Seitzer and Bobby Magianis, and how have you seen the team kind of work with them throughout the course of the season?
I feel like working with all of them, they're all like really good at something different. Like I feel like Bobby is really good at like the swing side of things. Seitz and Edgar are really good at the approach and the experience, and and that dynamic that they have, it's like really works for us because like I feel like we all like learn to trust them and like what they do, and I feel like that's something really good when you have like that connection with your hitting coaches like that because like they put a lot of effort to help us out, to watch our swings, to like kind of dive into our mentality as hitters, and it's something that I think is really good for the team, the whole dynamic that they got.
Come over on the right, Adam.
Just building off that with Edgar in particular, just how was your relationship with him grown over the last year in particular?
I feel like so much, like he's so much more around now, and like we have been able to establish a really good relationship. Just talking about life, baseball, like his experience, like with this team, and like throughout his career, and I think he just has so much to offer to like young players like me and to everybody in the clubhouse. Just like for like how much experience and how much he have done in this game.
Go to Tyler in the middle.
Julio, you committed to this franchise for a bunch of years, very early in your career. What was it about the direction and the vision of the organization that you found appealing?
I would say because I saw that we have the possibility of being moments like this. Playing for the teams that we're playing right now, like trying to get to the World Series, like playing really meaningful games in the postseason. I just feel like I saw it back then. And that was something that, I could tell the fans were really into it, that they loved the game. I could tell like where everything was going. I just feel like for situations like this was the reason why I decided to commit like pretty much my career of playing for the Seattle Mariners.
We'll stand in front here, David.
Julio, I'm going to ask this both in English and Spanish, if you could answer in both. It kind of similar to Tyler's question. This team has had a lot of legends over the years, but they've never been to a World Series. You committed long-term to the team, and you're 2 wins away from taking the team where it's never been. What would that mean to you personally to do that? Este equipo ha tenido muchas leyendas, pero obviamente nunca ha llegado a una serie mundial. Tú te comprometiste con este equipo a largo plazo. ¿Qué significaría para ti llevar a este equipo a donde nunca ha estado?
En verdad significaría mucho porque como ustedes todos saben, yo firmé una intención aquí y en verdad esto era lo que yo veía para este equipo. Yo veía el hambre, veía la dedicación, veía el empeño de todo el mundo, de verdad. Y por jugar juegos como este y por poder hacerlo juntos, de la manera que lo estaban haciendo, de verdad que eso fue lo que me motivó.
You want to do it in English too for us, please?
What would it mean? What would it mean to you to take the team to where they've never been?
I mean,
help
like I was saying, like it would mean the world, you know. Like I kind of told to Tyler, like that was the reason why, you know, like I signed here because I know, I got to know the fan base and like the hunger that this city had for like a championship. And I feel like that really motivated me, you know. I feel like that's been a big challenge, and I don't shy away from challenges. And I feel like that's something that like really motivated me to be here and just kind of seeing how everybody was like really into it and like kind of motivated to like bring a championship and World Series appearance and things like that. And like once you're in it, you know you gotta go for everything. And like I feel like we're in a really good position to get to that spot right now.
Go on the back left, Aaron.
Hey, Julio. Hey, you're back in the playoffs for the first time since your rookie year. You're just 21 years old then. You're still a really young man. You're still hitting home runs. You're still playing great defense. You're still stealing bases. Like, you're still doing the things the same way in a lot of ways. But how do you feel you have changed the most, whether it be emotionally, whether it be physically, how you approach the game? How have you changed the most since the last time you were in October?
I feel like everything. I feel like everything is different now. I feel like just being more mature, like kind of knowing what to expect a little bit more, like knowing myself a little bit more in these situations. I feel like in everything, I feel like I'm a little stronger now too. But yeah, I just feel like experience as a whole, like, you know, playing more games. I feel like that, like my rookie year, that was the first time me playing like over 100 games in my whole professional career. Like there was a lot of different things that kind of going on back there. And I just feel like just experience and like, you know, more games under my belt.
Go on the back left, Jordan.
Julio, you played more right field than center field early in your professional career. At what point did you take the possibility of being an everyday center fielder seriously, and who do you really credit to help you make that possible?
I feel like that's always like a fun question for me because I was level as being a corner outfielder because I was a little slower, like I was gonna get a little bit chubby. I think Kay definitely knows that whole story. You know, that was the whole narrative that people had with me. But I always felt like I had the possibility to play center field. I feel like I always thought I was a little bit faster of like what the people thought, that I was a little bit better at fielding than what the people thought of me. And I just feel like I always kind of took that as I want to put myself in the best position I can to play defense. And I want to let the team make the decision of put me in right or center or whatever. But I wanted to be capable. I always be capable of playing center field. And I remember when I went to the Olympics in 2021, our center field got hurt, and I was the second best option on it. And I remember feeling really comfortable being out there. And when I got back to AA, I told Colin Cowgill was my manager. And I told him, like, look, man, like, I want to make it to the big leagues. And I want to create as many like possibilities for me to be in the big league roster. And I want you to test me in center field too. And I remember when he saw me out there, it's like, man, why would we never thought about this sooner? You know? And, you know, I remember going into that off season too. I started training really hard with my training to kind of get better at my first steps, my routes, and like things like that. And when I got to spring training in 2022, I think there was a lot of people surprised, and you know, that's kind of how I got to be able to play center field.
Come back here on your right, Dan.
Julio, building off what you were telling David, How much have you appreciated the expectations of what you guys can potentially accomplish, and maybe some of the pressure that comes with it for, what this organization hasn't really seen before?
I just feel like all that is just fuel. Like it's something that we're walking to a very rare territory, but like that's just exciting. I feel like, there is always pressure like when you're doing great things. I just feel like it's just things that come with it, and like you gotta learn how to manage it, how to like acknowledge it too, because like, you cannot say like there is not pressure right now, that there is not like the expectations in the big moments, like to be able to deliver a win. You cannot just say that, playing where we are, like knowing the history of the team. So I just feel like acknowledging that and understanding that and just kind of keep moving forward, like playing one game at a time and just, do the best you can with what you can control.
We'll go to Shannon on the left.
Julio, what is something that Ichiro has told you about that and this time of the year?
To do the best you can. I feel like that's something that Ichiro will always say, just to do the best you can, control what you can control, and like, there is always room to get better. There is always room to get better, but, to be in the moment and control what you can control.
Stay on the left, Kate.
You also said that Ichiro said the lesson of Ichiro was kind of just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it can't be done, and you've taken that. You have studied for this moment too, though, right? You've not just looked within baseball, but you've looked at LeBron and you've looked at Michael Jordan, you've looked at KD. You've been studying for this. How has that helped prepare you for this moment?
I would say a lot, because all of those, players that you mentioned, and I feel like in baseball too, everybody has been in this spot. At least like guys that have been playing these meaningful games and like kind of playing for championships and all that. I just feel like we all like kind of experience the same thing. Even though if it's basketball, you can say hockey, you can say track and field, whatever. Like I feel like we all experience like these things, and like the way that we approach it at the end of the day is the same.
Bryce Miller, we'll start with Adam on the left. Bradley.
Bryce, I think you had your best fastball the other day in Toronto, the best velo of the season. Just what do you attribute that to at this time of the year?
Yeah, I think the last 2 weeks, everything's felt really good. Body, elbow, everything's felt really good the last couple weeks. And then plus, you factor in playoffs. Last 2 games have been on the road, so get a little extra adrenaline. But yeah, it helps a lot when body's feeling good. And so yeah, I'm happy with where the elbow and my body feels right now.
Go to Taryn in the front.
Bryce, with your start, you had a chance to see just by doing it what was effective against this Blue Jays lineup, and you've also had a couple games now to see what else is effective and what hasn't worked. How can that, just kind of different levels of performances kind of help you for your next start here tomorrow?
Yeah, it's a little different, throwing to the same team in 5 days, and the only time I've done that is in the minor leagues with the new minor league schedule. But yeah, I mean, they were swinging it really well against the Yankees, and we slowed them down. And then yesterday they were swinging it really good. So I don't know. I don't want to say too much on game plan or anything, but I just gotta study how I threw the other day and what works and what doesn't work, and go out and attack.
We'll stay on the left with Dan.
Bryce, how did you feel like you were able to get back into your routine after making the last start on short rest and this one obviously on standard?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a normal week for me. We're back to 5 days, so I got a bullpen this week, and everything's feeling good and smooth and healthy. So that's the main thing. And and we're back home, so back on normal schedule.
Go in the second row on the left, Mike.
Bryce, just over the course of your career, you've had great numbers here at T-Mobile. And I'm just curious, what is the difference for you being here in terms of what the kind of park it is, but also the vibe, or just what do you think has all gone into your success at T-Mobile specifically?
Yeah, I don't know. We've tried to, as a staff, try to pinpoint, why the last couple of years we've thrown a lot better at home, and we haven't really figured anything out specifically. I mean, obviously it's a good pitcher's park, and the fans are great and are behind us the whole time. And I think it all plays a factor into it. You know, you're sleeping in your bed and you wake up, everything's, you know, you got your routine, it's all comfortable, so that helps. But yeah, it's anytime, you know, you're pitching and they're cheering for you compared to cheering against you, it helps. And it helps pitching in a pitcher-friendly park as well. So it just kind of adds to the confidence and, you know, being able to go out there and get ahead and attack whenever you know that, you know, everything's, you know, on your side, in your favor.
Go to Taryn in the front.
I know you obviously said you didn't want to give too much of the game plan, but, you know, Detroit, that was a more patient lineup, one capable of just extending at bats. This one, much more aggressive. What's kind of the differences or kind of the keys for you while pitching to a lineup like the Tigers compared to this one?
Yeah, I think the main thing, just teams in general, whenever you're throwing to a very aggressive lineup compared to one that's not so aggressive, like you have to, you know, really make your pitches. You still want to get ahead. That's, you know, that's what we preach and what we try to do no matter what. Like, you want to get ahead when you're 0-0s and you're 1-1s. But you got to be a little more careful, you know, in the early count pitches. You don't want to, you know, just be like, if it's a guy that I know is not going to swing for the most part 0-0, then it's a little easier to, you know, throw it down the middle. And whereas if they're looking to do damage on the first pitch, then you got to, you know, pitch to the edges early and still get ahead. But yeah, you just got to make it a point to make better pitches in those early counts, and get to the edges and not, you know, just give up the middle part of the plate early.
Go on the right, Andrew.
Bryce, you know, obviously wouldn't have liked to have the injuries earlier in the season, I imagine, but yourself, Logan, you know, with George, all you guys getting healthy, it kind of seems like at the right time. Is there any credence, do you think, to the idea of this pitching staff, as good as it's been all year, it's now kind of peaking at the right time, even with Brian only being available out of the bullpen here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, yeah, like you said, it took all year for us to get all five in the rotation and feeling good. And yeah, I'm glad that Woo's back and feeling good. And hopefully, you know, we get him in the game and see what he can do. You know, he basically, you know, held it down, him and Louis, for us three the majority of the year. And so yeah, now it's kind of been our turn to pick him up and hold it down while he's been gone. So but yeah, I mean, with how well last year went for all five of us, it's good to have all of us, you know, feeling good, healthy, and you know, at the end of the year in the postseason.
Go to Tim in the middle.
Bryce, with Dan saying that Brian's going to throw out of the pen, you know, he was so good all season about getting deep into games. As a teammate and a fellow pitcher, in a short stint of 1 or 2 innings, what do you think will stand out about him or his stuff pitching in a smaller sample versus, you know, over 6 innings or so?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to try to do anything more, knowing that he has, you know, a lower pitch count. He's been, over the last few years, he's been really good, even, you know, when he's been lower 90s, and he's been really good at upper 90s. And he's able to, you know, just with the uniqueness of his delivery and of his fastball, just, you know, tear through lineups, you know, even when he's not feeling good. And I mean, you see he threw 1 inning in the All-Star game and was, you know, 97, 98, and was untouchable. So, but no, he's going to go out there and do what he does and attack and get ahead. And I don't know what his pitch count is or how many innings that they'll limit him to, but I'm sure that, you know, it's going to look like normal Woo.
Go to the back left.
Yeah, Bryce, just curious your excitement level to pitch on a stage this big at home, and just kind of what you anticipate the atmosphere being like tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be, I mean, all postseason it's been electric, and I've been watching from the dugout. I haven't got to pitch here yet, so yeah, I'm ready to go. I'm excited, and it'll be a lot of fun to see what it feels like on the mound. But no, fans have been great, and it's been a lot of fun playing here and having them behind us.